Right, thanks for watching my video review of Hearts and Bones and the Third Wife. Thousands flee war-torn lands, but one man is drawn toward the danger. In the peaceful suburbs of Sydney, Australia, acclaimed photographer Dan Fisher seemingly has it all. But as a newfound friend makes a simple request, the ghosts of the past are woken. Through the fog of war and memory, we are guided only by what exists deep down at our very core, hearts and bones. It's similar to Blow Up in the sense that the movie was sold to me as a mystery about an image within the film. Now, one of the main characters is a war photographer, so geez, this is going to be a really interesting movie. And I think there's something interesting about this kind of movie where you're absorbed in the legitimacy of a photograph within the movie or a video within the movie. And that lends by default some authenticity to the movie itself, perhaps. Now, a more recent version of this kind of mystery is Lake Mungo, I think, which was a fantastic documentary. Now, it's not so much an issue with this film because it's based more on the characters and the story. That's normal feature film ratio with Arri Alexa Mini and Cook lenses, and it looks great. Can I mention here that having just watched Gemini Man and Joker, a cinema of extremes, can I call it, extremes of format in Gemini Man and extremes of character in Joker, I was asking myself, is cinema dead? Do we have to be this extreme to get people to go into the cinema? Well, no, this is a slice of life film. I saw it in the cinema, so it's not dead. But I had to see it at a film festival. 10 years ago, Hearts and Bones would have got a mainstream release. Is cinema as I know it dying? Thanks to Travelling Film Festival and Sydney Film Festival for making it possible for me to see the film. Now, the slice of life film is a great relief, a sigh of relief. An audible sigh was heard from me. I'm not surprised that the previous feature was a documentary by Ben Lawrence, director, about a ghost hunter who hunts ghosts, but it's more about his personal journey. But that, I think, can lend itself to the structure of a feature narrative. Now, I've heard some great things about Ghost Hunter. I'm keen to see the movie. It's available on DVD and online streaming, apparently. Hugo Weaving probably relished his chance to play a real person. Now, the last film in Mortal Engines, a worthy but slightly sort of TV cinema type film. Andrew Lurie, former Garbage Man, first time actor, he's a natural. He admitted that his past was very similar to the character, made it easier for him. Hugo Weaving said that the authenticity of Lurie's performance helped him, and that's interesting that a first-time actor assists someone as great as Hugo. Hayley McElhinney, Bollywood Watson, and the two female lead actresses in the movie, actresses, it's absolutely beautiful women, and it's great characters. Such a joy to watch, a relief to watch a film like this. There's some great familiar faces, new faces, some great singing, and a bit of dancing as well. And this is the, I thought, romper stomper for Sydney's community, and don't laugh, but what it means is, you need to be reflected in the mass media of your homeland at some point or another. So thanks, Ben Lawrence, for doing this for the Sydney's community. I don't mean the narratives are similar, but you get the sentiment, I hope. Now, images of death in this movie, it made me Google, just briefly, what Aboriginal traditional beliefs are on images of people who have passed away. Not only do they not want to see images, traditionally they didn't speak the name of someone who'd passed away. They would be referred to, say, as a past grandfather. That old man. Interesting. By the way, the images in the film were pretty graphic, and this publicity still had the 35mm prints on it, but they've been edited out. Bit of trivia there. There's a variety of new characters and new stories, and they give this movie a real dimension. we get to look at the family from the outside. Then we get to journey into the family and look at those conversations and arguments that would be deemed extremely personal. And that's what makes this film great. I've mentioned how refreshing it is. Take me to the suburbs. That's where most of us live, right? Now, fat pizza doesn't account for all of us, just most of us. Have I mentioned how refreshing this movie was? I hope so. So they're a weird mob, Australians. All these folks from ethnic communities connected to homelands, but we're all part of Australia and the Commonwealth with deep connections to much larger Western nations. It's reflected in our CV, cinema and CV, cinema and TV. Largely imported, so occasionally we get to look at ourselves, our curious selves, which we've done here. So thanks very much for that. Innocence succumbs to duty, trust tainted with envy, beauty subdues caution, fate binds hope, the past baits the present, the first sin, a second sight, the third wife. We'll run with that. So shot with Zeiss Master Primes on an Arri Alexa XT in 1.661 format. WTF. We're not alone here. Yuli's Gold, Dust Boot, Barry Lyndon, The Witch, all shot in 1.661 format. So that's just a bit wider than old school television, 4:3 ratio. So there's a lot of no budget filmmakers there yearning for an affordable anamorphic lens. The director Ash Mayfair says we're shooting 1.85:1 normal feature film ratio, but cinematographer Trotring Rog says we're going to use the whole of the sensor, 1.661 frame, and make it like a watercolour painting. And it makes sense, and after 2 minutes you don't think about it because everything is framed so beautifully. It's remarkable, really. There are 3 wives in this frame. Which is the elder wife, which I mean to say is which is the first wife, which is the second, which is the third. Well, here's some playful intimacy between the husband and the first wife. She has a son in the film. Tran Nu Yen Ke from Siklo, Santa Grand Papaya, and various other international films made in Vietnam. Now she's the elder of the 3 wives, but she is achingly beautiful. The husband doesn't get much characterisation, but in a way, he's just a guy, he's not evil. That's the way it was. And the direction of the film is intimate but objective. It's quite an achievement. It's just a day in the life, really, of a teenager who gets married to a wealthy landowner who already has 2 wives. The second wife is pop singer Mai Tu Hung. She is an amazing actress, and the outfit she's wearing as a pop star belies the subtlety of her performance. Carnivorous beauty, that's how I described her. There is a level of innocence afforded to each of the characters in the film, and the situation is made ridiculous. Again, such an achievement for a first-time director, or any director. There's a lot of pressure for a sophomore effort there. Third wife or fiancée in the still, Wen Fung Cha Mi. She's chosen from 900 potentials. She chased the part. She contacted the director and said, "This part is for me. I'm right for this part." And there's no argument here. There is always some concern that someone so young has wisdom beyond their years, but she has it in spades in this movie. The controversy was that she was 13 when the film was made, and when it got released there was a public outcry about the sensuous scenes in the film, and the pressure was put on her and her mother. So the producers said, let's withdraw the film after 4 days it was taken from the theatres. There was subsequent talk about fines and an inquiry as to why the film passed the censors. Here there is one big happy family again. The guy is just the head of the family, and that's the way it was. In centre frame is Nguyen Nhu Quinn. She's played in many films in the past, again modern ones, Ciclo, Vertical Ray of the Sun, Indochine, and further back in the 70s, to paraphrase, We'll Meet Again, about French occupation in Vietnam. Now, the flow-on effect of the husband being the powerful member of the family is that each wife yearns to have a son. And boy, have things changed in Asia. There's some irony in that statement, but I don't know, I don't live there. Based on stories from the director's grandparents and great-grandparents, and she's been inundated apparently with folks who've seen the film and want to say that yes, my parents' life, my life, my great-grandparents' life was similar to what you depict in the film. In the film, the wives don't appear to be too reserved about talking about intimate personal matters. I usually see that in comedies, so that they're able to discuss things back then is quite intriguing. The director, again, if I could just throw this in here, didn't get a lot of exposure to cinema in Vietnam. It wasn't until she moved to the West that she got exposure to cinema. It's a particular language cinema. There's plenty of television soap operas in Vietnam, but it is a particular language cinema, and I took it for granted myself. It's so hard to replicate. The cinematographer is via Thailand, the director via Vietnam, as I mentioned. Studied in Australia and the UK. They both studied film in New York City. Spike Lee afforded them a grant for the production of the script, the development of the script, and Ash Mayfair applied endlessly for grant funding to keep herself alive and the production flowing. The original village they wanted to shoot in was destroyed by a storm. The actors were dressed in costume in the refurbished village that they found, and they rehearsed there for a month before they began to shoot, and they witnessed the sights and sounds of the village, and that really had a big impact on the end result. It's an astonishing film. There are characters for everyone, not just hubby and the lucky three wives. Has life changed much since 19th century Vietnam? Well, that's a question I think that the film poses. It's up to you to provide that answer. I did see Terminator Dark Fate recently, huge budget, not doing so well at the box office. Further evidence that cinema, as I know it, is dying. We'll see. No pun intended. Thanks for listening to my review.